Play it once, Sam. For all time's sake.
Look! Look! Look how she moves.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. All month we've been examining how Asians have been portrayed in Hollywood films through the years. Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. Welcome. And I'm here with actor and playwright Charles Busch. Hi, I'm Robert Osborne, and Sybil Shepherd is here with me tonight.
Awesome. So how did you get your start in Hollywood?
I bought my way in.
Cash?
Yeah, absolutely.
Before credit cards?
Absolutely, yeah. I couldn't
Your
get my foot
ATM
in the door.
machine?
Couldn't get the foot in the door, and so I paid money, and I got in.
Nice. I heard something about Lucille Ball, or
No.
is that a
No,
rumor?
that was a lie.
It's a rumor.
That was a lie.
Okay. Never
Yeah.
read the Hollywood Reporter.
That's right. Lon
Okay.
Chaney actually started me in films.
Ah, did he really?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was a great guy. He
thought
died
he
in
was
about
like in-
1923. He was wonderful. Yeah.
I saw one film, The Robe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's the only movie you've seen?
Yeah.
Makes you a filmmaker, in my book.
How did you meet Ted Turner?
Actually, when I was considered, are you wanting me to be serious now?
Very serious.
Okay.
This is very, very, very serious.
Okay. Okay, my serious. When I was being considered for the job at Turner, I had to go meet Ted Turner.
Who could you possibly?
He won't let anyone call him Mr. Turner. I had to meet Ted, and so I had to talk to him for a while, get his approval. He was a very nice guy, loves movies, you know, knows a lot about movies. I didn't know that. That surprised me actually. He didn't seem to me somebody who would know a lot about old films or care about them. He seemed such a today kind of guy and everything, and a big sports fan. And indeed, he said he wasn't a sports fan much. He loved to go to the movies with his dad all the time when he was growing up. He knows a lot about them.
Who could have possibly been up against you for that?
Well, you know, there are a lot of people that know a lot about movies. There are. I was very lucky that, and I didn't audition for it. I think if I'd auditioned for it, I never would have gotten the job, because I would have. I think when you audition for things, you're brought in a whole group of people, or you know, the whole trail of people coming and going, and you're just another person going by. It's very hard to make an impression on people. And so I had the best chance because I happened to go to a dinner party when the guy that was looking for somebody, which I didn't know, was looking for a host. And at the dinner party, people were just talking about films and movies and everything like that. So he said, "You know a lot about films." And that's what triggered the whole thing.
Do you realize you're known as the smartest and nicest guy in Hollywood?
Really? By whom?
Isn't that what they said?
By whom? No, that's somebody else.
Well, let me check that.
You're Ozzy. Yeah. I'm not Ozzy Osbourne. You got me mixed up.
You're not Ozzy Osbourne?
No, you got me mixed up. Wait a second. Jesus.
Are we getting Ozzy today? No.
Well, I once, when I was on the news on Channel 11 in Los Angeles, I once was interviewing David Carradine live on television, and he came to the studio, and he was really spaced out. I don't know quite on what. He was really feeling good.
That's funny. Last time I interviewed him, which was 2 months ago, he was spaced out
yeah.
still.
And anyway, he thought he was going to be interviewed by Ozzy Osbourne. That's why he showed up. So you get on live television with the Wild Man, and you're not the person he thought he was going to be talking to.
Was that ludicrous? I thought it was ludicrous.
It was ludicrous, the idea of it was.
Okay.
Yeah, not one of my happier moments.
Okay. Who
this is a happy moment.
Okay. As long as we're happy.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
how did you get your start in Hollywood?
I haven't started yet.
Yeah?
I haven't started.
Yeah.
I was hoping that you could help me start.
You're kind of doing everything today. You're like editing, you're lining up the camera,
I
you're
got
telling
no
me what to
problems.
say, you're
So-
where to sit, you know, move over this way, move that way.
Yeah.
I mean, where'd you learn to
It's
do
just
that?
my
Where'd
personality.
you learn to boss people
It's
around?
my personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got my start as a little bitty baby.
Yeah. That's right. They
It's been downhill ever since.
They
No.
didn't throw you out with the dishwater, right?
What's your favorite film of all time?
Well, that changes. I think that when Today, The Third Man, I think. Wonderful film with Orson Welles. You're a lot like Orson, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
I look
thinner,
like him.
a lot thinner.
Well, I'm going to eat
but,
something later.
No, it's a great film. But I think when we grow, you know, that the films that you like at one stage in your life may not be the film you respond to later. I saw The Third Man when I was a kid, and I liked it, but I didn't particularly respond to it. Now I see it, and I think this is just, you know, like genius.
How was the film festival this year? The Robert Osborne Film Festival.
Robert Osborne's Classic Film Festival in
okay.
Athens, Georgia. It went very well. It did indeed.
And that was the third?
It's a lot of fun because the thrust of it is to to show films that we all know on a big screen. And a film is so different when you see it on the big screen. You might have seen Casablanca 14 times. You see it on a big screen, it's totally different. You see Saturday Night Fever on a big screen, totally different movie than seeing it on a TV-sized screen, even if it's a large TV. And it's also different watching it with 2,500 other people.
I can remember 15 years ago, we were walking down somewhere in New York, and you said, you know, one day you're not going to be able to get all the films made in the store. They're not going to be available in the Blockbuster or whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, they are now available, but we don't. You don't have the certainly Virgin Records and all that, the stores anymore. But we're getting it in a different way. We're getting it through our iPods, iPhones,
and online, everything else.
Online, DVDs. I would hate to be a movie exhibitor though, and have a theater and wonder if I should buy new equipment, get new seats and stuff, because you don't know how long theaters themselves are going to be around. If that's going to kind of go by the way, like newspapers are leaving us and magazines are leaving us.
No, the stock just dropped on theaters. You just ruined it.
Well, you know, you never know. I mean, I wouldn't, I'm glad that I don't have to worry about that. I was affiliated with them for about 3 years. They were setting up a contract stable at their studio, and I was lucky to get in on that. And I got to know her really well because that was at a time when she and Desi were kind of being stretched apart from each other. And she didn't have anyone really to hang out with, so she spent a lot of time with 3 of the people she had under contract to her. And she was teaching us at the same time. She was taking us to see revivals of Chaplin films, and she would run old I Love Lucy shows at her house to show us how, you know, if you're going to be an actor, if you want to play a cello badly and comedically, you have to learn how to play it correctly before you can play it badly. You know, how, just her rules of comedy. So I felt that was a great part of my life because I got to learn a lot from her about professionalism, behavior, and all that. And then we actually stayed friends until she died. I didn't see her a lot. I would see her always at least once a year, once or twice a year. She would always call and find out, you know, if I was eating right, who my friends were.
Were you eating right?
Well, I was. I tried to eat if I thought she was going to call well the night before.
So
but she was wonderful. The interesting thing about Lucy is she was not a funny woman. She knew how to be funny, but she did not think funny. She was not. Life was a serious matter to her, and she was quite a strong woman, wonderful woman. But you know, there are people like Carol Burnett that think funny. Everything that comes out of their mouth. Carrie Fisher thinks funny, and everything she says is really hilarious. Judy Garland was very funny, but Lucille Ball was not funny. She knew how to be funny, but she wasn't a funny lady. Desi very much ran the show, except she was very dominant in her area. But she also knew, she always said that she had got too much credit for it, because she got credit for the whole kind of Desilu dynasty. But Desi's the one that was really doing the business things, and it was his keen business sense that made Desilu really work. What she did, she handled the creative part of it, the shows, the funniness, the comedy. She made sure the directors were right and that it was working and all that. He wasn't an expertise on that, but he was an expertise on business. He's the one that thought of 3 camera shoots with film. That had never been done before in front of an audience. He got Carl Frund, who was one of the great cinematographers of all time and had directed films of his own, to be the head of photography for it. So he was like the creative genius, and she always would say that she, you know, he never got the credit he deserved. She got Emmy Awards. Vivian Vance got Emmy Awards. Bill Frawley, who played Fred Mertz, got Emmy Awards. Desi never got an Emmy. I mean, he was kind of always the one that was kind of like, Lucy was the spectacular one. So he got all the, he did all the work, but he didn't really get the credit he deserved.
Did it? Okay. Does it bother you that people compare you with Frank Sinatra?
It never bothered me, because it only bothered me about them because I can't sing and I'm not thin. So if they thought that I was a lot like Frank Sinatra, it really bothered me. Because I felt they were about to go mad.
The Summer Winds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the most influential people to me was Lucille Ball, because I met her right at a very formative time in my life. I'd gone to college. I knew nothing about show business, and I got into that. And she really taught me about, you know, what hard work it was, that it was not a frivolous business. and that everybody thinks that Hollywood is partying and doing all of that, but it's really very hard work. There's always competition out there. Every year there's a new class of students letting out of college into the field. There's going to be competition, so you have to really be honed with your skills and be ready whenever somebody needs you, be ready to work. You have to take care of yourself and all of that. And she just taught me kind of a sense of professionalism that I never had. Then another one that was very influential on me was the actress Olivia de Havilland, who Gone with the Wind and all, because I got to know her, and she just had such a great sensibility about life and about how, you know, that you can't live for your work. You have to have other things in your life, so that when the work goes, because it's not going to stay with you all of your life, you've got to have other things going on. You have to be interested in other things. And she also taught me about how the world always changes. You have to be ready for it to change, but there has to be, you know, you have to be like 60% adaptable to what's going on, and then 40% has to be absolutely rigid, and that's your moral character, your beliefs in certain things and all of that. You can never let that change, but you have to allow all the other things to change, because you can't hold on to the past, and everything is always going to change. So to have a happy life, you have to realize that. You have to realize life is change.
How do you think Hollywood's changed in the last 50 years?
Well, you know, when I first came out to California, it was a totally different business. I mean, actors and the press got along with each other. They all worked together on things. There was not the hysteria there is now. But I think really what changed Hollywood to me was like Star Wars, because when Star Wars came along, it meant there was really huge amounts of money to be made in the movie business. And there's always money made before, but this was like buckets of money. And it made all those young students at Harvard and Yale and everything who had no interest in show business, though, realized they could make big money in the movie business. So they came out and kind of took over the industry. And so now you have people running the studios that are not really interested in anything but the money. And they're not that interested in developing, you know, better stories really, or leaving an industry. Those other guys were all, you know, glove salesmen. They became part of the movie business, and they wanted to develop a business they could leave to their sons and their daughters and their son-in-laws and stuff. And they had a great interest in doing good work. They wanted to upgrade themselves and everybody else, but we don't really have that today. It's kind of haywire. It's kind of like everybody running in all directions, and it makes it tough for anybody wanting to be in it.
With film, in the old days, there's a lot about the story. Then now, you know, the special effects. Where do you see it going next?
Well, you know, they've got to go back to the story if they're going to keep the interest of people. They're losing the interest of people already. I mean, it's got great competition now from video games and from, you know, people on the internet and all that kind of thing. They are losing an audience to a degree. People will always want to go out if something really captures their imagination and all of that. But I'm just afraid that they have to get back to the story in some way. And that gets harder and harder because all the stories have been told so many times in so many different ways. But I do think it's one reason that Turner Classic Movies, if I can put in a plug, has become so successful. It's like an oasis for people, because they can turn on a television set and go to that channel and 9 times out of 10 find something that's going to interest them in a way that they see a movie that may be dramatic, maybe a comedy, maybe a musical, but no matter what, even a gritty prison drama with Edward G. Robinson or James Cagney is going to, they're going to have a positive feeling at the end of it. They're going to feel better when they come out of the movie. They're going to be entertained. They've got rich characters and all of that. All those elements that we don't get in so many movies today. And I think that it's amazing that people, we've been on the air for 15 years now, and it's just in the last 3 or 4 years it's like become essential to people's lives, because it's like this bonbons in the refrigerator. You open the refrigerator door after work and you say, oh my God, yes, it's there, I can try that, you know, and they are entertained by it. And I wish that filmmakers would kind of realize that people are gravitating, why they're gravitating towards TCM, these old movies. They do have a story, they're well written, they're well edited, they don't run 2.5 hours or 3 hours. Most of them are, you know, 90 minutes to 2 hours. And they've got positive stories, and at the end of the story, even if it's a gangster film, you know, there's somewhat of an uplifting feeling at the end, because all of us, we want to be entertained whether we believe it or not. when we go out to the theater. You don't want to go after a hard day's work and you read the newspapers of all this terrible stuff going on in the world, and you turn on television and the news is so grim, and you don't want to go out and pay $10 to be more depressed when you come home. I mean, who wants to really run out with great enthusiasm to see No Country for Old Men at the end of a long, hard day? It's a great movie when you see it, but it is not the kind of thing that makes you, just really want to run out and be entertained by it. And they'll lose that audience altogether because there are so many other options now if they don't do something about that in the movies. Because I think a lot of people don't even look at the movie ads anymore because they realize that medium is not for them anymore, and they're losing millions of dollars because of that.
Going to the theater, you mean?
Yeah, because I think there's a whole group of people that have a lot of money and have a lot of free time and don't go to the movies because there's nothing in the movies that really appeal to them. These movies are all, again, being made for 14-year-olds to they say in their 20s, but we hope by the time you're 20s you're not reading comic books anymore. You've maybe progressed beyond that, but they're all it's all really kind of high school kind of entertainment, and the industry won't last forever if that's all people are going to get.
Yeah.
It's really shocking when you see some of the movies made, really intelligent, really wonderful stories by great authors and with great positive messages and entertaining and fun, but some of the movies that made in the 30s and 40s and 50s that still hold up beautifully, and nobody would ever greenlight something like that today. And that's the tragedy of it. You would think that that industry is so great and was so great would have progressed, higher and higher, but instead of that we go lower and lower.
Do you rap? Are you a rapper?
Oh, I am.
No? Can you do a rapping
Oh, I
for
can
us?
do all that.
Come on.
No, I know. I paid for that.
No,
I don't do it,
you got
man.
big money.
No, you have to pay me to do that.
I'll get you an
Yeah,
agent.
you wrap it up.
Who's the funniest guy you ever met?
Who's the funniest guy I ever met? Well, I just did an interview yesterday with George Hamilton, who's a very funny guy.
He is funny.
He's kind of like David Niven of a decade or two ago. He thinks funny. He's got wonderful stories. He doesn't pretend to be anything but a movie star. He doesn't pretend to be an actor. And he loves life, and he's very funny. He observes things, and he tells very witty stories. He sees the funny side of everything that he does.
Who's the best actor you ever?
Besides you?
Well. Besides
And your
me.
brother?
Yeah.
The best actor, I think, well, my favorite actor, I have two favorite actors.
Okay.
William Holden, one of my favorite actors, and Cary Grant.
I'm not going to do actresses because you'll get in too much trouble. Or maybe not. Okay. What's
Well,
your favorite actress?
well, my favorite one that I would like to watch is Gene Tierney.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's your favorite film?
Third Man.
Okay. I think I met Jean. Didn't I? Was she at the Academy?
No, Gene Tierney
That's the Broadway
is
girl,
gone
Gene.
now,
Okay.
yes. But Gene Tierney made a movie called Laura, Leave Her to Heaven, Razor's Edge, The Ghost of Mrs. Muir, and she's a beautiful, beautiful dark-haired girl with high cheekbones and kind of buck teeth. She had everything not really right about her, and she was this great, great beauty. Married to Ola Cassini, who was the great designer.
What, Rita Hayworth.
Rita Hayworth, loved Rita Hayworth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually worked for a PR firm for a while, and she was one of our clients, so I used to have to take her to openings and
Horrible to
things.
look at. Horrible to look at.
She was a very sweet lady. What was amazing about Rita Hayworth was you'd sit in a car with her driving to this place, and she's very shy, very kind of quiet and subdued, and she'd get out of the car, kind of throw her head back, and she was Rita Hayworth. And she had this great charisma about her and was, confident and all of that. And then she'd go back, get in the car to go home, and she was this quiet, shy little woman again. So the Rita Hayworth the public saw was this great character she was playing, that this girl, shy girl, knew how to play.
And Betty Davis?
She was a very nice lady. Complicated, very nice lady, though.
And who's the other star with her? Joan
Crawford?
Joan Crawford.
I just met her once, and I remember her, to this day, her handshake was just like she was played for the L.A. Rams or something. Just
James
like-
Dean. James Dean.
Never met him. Like
Marlon
James Dean.
Brando.
I did meet him twice, just briefly, when he did, it was actually at the premiere of a movie he made called The Ugly American, and then I watched
I
him.
didn't see that. I want to see that.
Then I watched him work on a couple of scenes when he was filming The Young Lions. Very impressive.
Who's the most talented actor?
Well, you know,
actress today?
I mean, we've got some great talents out there today. Certainly Heath Ledger was. I think that Daniel Day-Lewis is terrific. Harvey Bardem is great. Emma Thompson's wonderful. Meryl Streep, of course, is fabulous. So a lot of great people. You know, I just wish that they were doing more things that they could really cut their teeth on. When you think of the films being made during Bette Davis's era, and she got, you know, would do 3 and 4 a year, and Meryl Streep, you know, comes out and does Mamma Mia, you know, that's not really good enough for her. She should be given great stories and great things, and people should go and have a chance to see it. So we're getting cheated in a way. We have these great talents that are not given, and there are no stories out there for them. People aren't writing them. See, my theory is that we don't get more great stories and more great novels and more great plays because people who are talented can make a great living in television. Working quickly, they don't have to write their great play. They don't have to write the Philadelphia Story or On Golden Pond. They can, you know, knock off a script for CSI or something like that.
Thank you for coming by.
My pleasure.
Our
Shake my
Sun
hand.
Drenched Studios here
Yes.
at Manhattan Beach
Thank
at
you.
Riley Studios.
Thank you. You all make it very pleasant.
I think I'm stuck. Okay.